Numbers chapter 19, the Red Heifer. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the statute of the law which Yahweh has commanded, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel that they bring you an unblemished red heifer. Now that's a female cow, in which is no defect and on which no yoke has ever been placed. And you shall give it to Eleazar the priest, and it shall be brought outside the camp to be slaughtered in his presence. Now, he said Eleazar the priest because at this point, Aaron is soon going to die. And so this is the high priest, okay? Brought outside the camp and to be slaughtered in his presence. Next, Eleazar the priest shall take some of the blood with his finger and sprinkle the blood toward the front of the tent of meeting 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the heifer shall be burnt in his sight. Its hide, its flesh, its blood, its refuse shall be burnt. And the priest should take some cedar wood and some hyssop and some scarlet and cast it into the midst of the burning heifer. The priest shall then wash his clothes and bathe his body with water, and afterward come into the camp, but the priest shall be unclean until evening. The one who burns it shall also wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will be unclean until evening. And the man who is clean is to come and gather the ashes of the red heifer, along with the cedar and all this that was burnt with it, and place it in a clean place outside the camp. It is for the water to remove impurity. It is for purification from sin. This is the reason when the Israelites got the red heifers from Texas. This is the reason October 7th happened, according to the leader of Hamas on the 100th day of that war. He said it's because they got the red heifers for purification from sin that they could then do the temple ceremonies. And that's why they started the October 7th. So this is right in the middle of what we've got going on. The one who burns it shall wash his clothes, and a man who's clean shall come and deposit it outside the camp in a clean place, and the congregation shall keep it as water to remove impurity. It's for purification from sin. Verse 10, Numbers 19. And the one who, and Numbers 11, verse 11, Numbers 19. And the one who touches a corpse of any person shall be unclean 7 days. That's 7 days if you touch a dead person or any part of a dead thing or person. The one shall purify himself of his uncleanness with water on the 3rd day and again on the 7th day, and he shall be clean. If he does not purify himself on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, he shall not be clean. Anyone who touches a corpse of the body of a man who's died and does not purify himself, that person shall be cut off from Israel, because the water of impurity, this is this red heifer water, has not been sprinkled on him. He shall be unclean. His uncleanliness is on him. And the law is when a man dies in a tent, everyone who comes into the tent and everyone who's in that tent shall be unclean for 7 days. And an open vessel that has no covering tied on it shall be unclean. Also, anyone who in an open field touches one who's been slain with a sword or who's died for a human bone or a grave, he shall be unclean for 7 days. And the unclean shall take some of the ashes of the burnt purification from sin, and the flowing water shall be added to them in a vessel. And the clean person shall take hyssop and dip it in the water and sprinkle it on the tent and on the furnishings, on the people who were in there, on the one who touched the bone, or one who touched one who was slain, or one who touched one dying, or a grave. And then the clean person shall sprinkle the unclean on the 3rd day, and again on the 7th day. And they shall purify him from his uncleanness, and he shall wash his clothes with water and bathe in water, and he'll be unclean, and he'll be clean by that evening. But the man who is unclean and does not purify himself from his uncleanness, that person is to be cut off from the midst of the assembly, because He has defiled the sanctuary of Yahweh. The water of impurity has not been sprinkled on him, and he is unclean. See how important that water is of the red heifer, the water of purity? And so it shall be a perpetual statute for them who sprinkles the water of impurity to wash his clothes, and who touches the water for impurity shall be clean until evening. Furthermore, anything that the unclean person touches is unclean, and the person who touches it shall also be unclean until evening. Now we're in Numbers chapter 20. Miriam dies. The waters of Mirabah, this is brought up a lot in the New Testament and other places in the Bible. And Aaron dies. So here we go. Numbers chapter 20. In the wilderness, when the sons of Israel and the whole congregation came to the wilderness of Zin, in the first month the people stayed at Kadesh, and now Miriam died there and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation. They assembled themselves against Moses and Aaron. The people contended with Moses and spoke, saying, "If only we had perished along with our brothers who perished before Yahweh. Why then have you brought Yahweh's assembly into this wilderness for us and our beasts to die here? Why have you made us come up from Egypt to bring us to this wretched place? And it's a place of grain? No, it's not a place of figs or vines or pomegranates, nor is it there any water to drink." And Moses and Aaron came to the presence of the assembly at the doorway at tent and meeting, and they fell on their faces. And the glory of Yahweh appeared to them. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the rod that you and your brother Aaron and assemble the congregation and speak to the rock before their eyes, that it may yield its water. You shall thus bring forth water for them out of the rock, and let the congregation and their beasts drink." So Moses took the rod before Yahweh, just as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly before the rock. And he said to them, "Now listen, you rebels, shall we bring forth water for you out of this rock?" And Moses lifted up his hand and struck the rock twice with the rod, and water poured forth abundantly, and the congregation and their beasts drank. But Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you have not believed me to treat me as holy in front of the sons of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land I have given them." These are the waters of Mirabah, Meribah, because the sons of Israel contended with Yahweh, and he proved himself holy in their sight. From Kadesh, Moses sent messengers to the king of Edom. "Thus shall your brother Israel has said, you know all the hardship that has befallen us, and our fathers went down to Egypt, and we stayed a long time, and the Egyptians treated us and our fathers badly. And when we cried out to Yahweh, he heard our voice and sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. And now behold, we are at Kadesh, a town on the edge of your territory. Please let us pass through your land. We shall not pass through field or through vineyard. We will not even drink the water from a well. We will go on the king's highway and not turn to the right or the left till we have passed through your territory." Now, why do I hesitate when I speak like Moses? It's because he had a speech impediment. Edom, however, said to him, "You shall not pass through us, lest we come out with a sword against you." And again the sons of Israel said to him, "We shall go on the king's highway And if my livestock is to drink any of your water, we will pay its price. Only let us pass through on my feet. Nothing else. And Edom said, you shall not pass through. And Edom came out with a heavy force and a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to allow Israel to pass through its territory. So Israel turned away from him. And now they set out from Kadesh, the sons of Israel, the whole congregation, and came to Mount Hor, H-O-R. And Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron at Mount Hor, by the border of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered to his people. He shall not enter the land I have given to the sons of Israel, because you rebelled against me at my command at the waters of Mirabah. Take Aaron and his son Eleazar and bring them up Mount Hor. Strip Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar. So Aaron will be gathered and will die there. And Moses did just as Yahweh had commanded. They went up Mount Hor in the sight of their congregation, and Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar his son. And Aaron died there on top of the mountain. And Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain, and when all the congregation saw Aaron had died, the house of Israel wept for Aaron 30 days. Chapter 21. Arad, Hormah, the bronze serpent, spring up, O well, and the Amorite victory. Excuse me. When the Canaanite, the king of Arad, who lived in the Negev, heard Israel was coming by the way of Atharim, then he fought against Israel and took some of them captive. So Israel made a vow to Yahweh and said, if you will indeed deliver this people into my hand, I will utterly destroy their cities. That's Caleb. That's Joshua talking. And Yahweh heard the voice of Israel and delivered up the Canaanites. And then they utterly destroyed them and their cities. Thus the name of the place is called Hormah. And they set out from Mount Hor by the way of the Sea of the End, Yom Suf, to go around the land of Edom, and the people became impatient because of the journey. And the people spoke against Yahweh and against Elohim, the God, and Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there's no food, there's no water. We loathe this miserable food. And Yahweh sent fiery serpents among the people. And these snakes, they bit the people, and many of people of Israel died. So the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned because we spoke against Yahweh, and now you intercede to Yahweh that he may remove these snakes, these serpents from us. And Moses interceded for the people. And Yahweh said to Moses, make a fiery serpent and set it on a standard, and it shall come about every one who's bitten and looks at it shall live. So Moses made a bronze serpent and set it on a standard. And it came about that if the serpent bit any man, when he looked at the bronze serpent, he lived. Now this is a symbol of medical stuff, even today. It's where it came from. And Moses made a bronze serpent, and that's what he did. He put that serpent wrapped around it. Now the sons of Israel moved out and camped at Oboth, and they journeyed from Oboth and camped at Barim in the wilderness, which is opposite Moab to the east. And from there they set out and camped at Wadi Zered. And there they journeyed and camped on the other side of the Arnon, which is the wilderness that comes about, and it's the border of the Amorites. For Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. And there it is said in the book of the wars of Yahweh, what he did and the end see. and the wadis of Arnon, and the slopes of the wadis, and the extents of the Ar, and leans to the border of Moab. And there they continued to bear. That means well. And there was a well there, and Yahweh said to Moses, assemble the people that I may give them water. And Israel sang a song, spring up a well, sing unto it, the well which the leaders sank, which nobles of the peoples dug, with the scepter and with their staffs. And from the wilderness they continued to Matan. And from Matan to Nahaliel, and from Nahaliel to Bathmoth, and from Bathmoth to the valley of the land of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which overlooks the wasteland. Verse 21, chapter 21, Numbers. And Israel sent messengers to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, saying, let me pass through your land. We will not turn to the field or vineyard. We will drink water from the wells, and we will go by the king's highway until we pass through your border. But Sihon did not permit Israel to pass through his border. So Sihon gathered all his people and went out against Israel in the wilderness, and they came to Jahaz and fought against Israel, and Israel struck them with the edge of the sword and took possession of his land, and from the Arnon to the Jabbok, as far as the sons of Ammon, and to the border of the sons of Ammon was Jazer. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel lived in the cities of the Amorites, and Heshbon, and in her villages. And Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and had taken all his land out of his hand as far as the Arnon. For these are those whose used proverbs say, come, Heshbon, let it be built. So the city of Sihon was established. For a fire went forth from Heshbon, and a flame from the town of Sihon. It delivered Ar of Moab, and the dominant heights of Arnon. Woe to you, Moab! You are ruined, O people of Chemosh. He has given your sons as fugitives and your daughters into captivity to an Amorite king, Sihon. But we have cast them down. Heshbon is ruined as far as Disbon, and we have laid waste even to Nohab, and reached the Medeba. Thus Israel lived in the land of the Amorites, and Moses sent to spy to Jazer, and captured its villages, and dispossessed the Amorites who lived there. And it turned out they went up the way of Bashon. Og, the king of Bashon, went out with all his people for the battle at Edrei. And Yahweh said to Moses, do not fear him, for I have given him into your hand, and all his people and all his land, and you shall do to him what you did to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon. So they killed him and his sons and all his people, until there was no remnant left of him, and they possessed his land. This is the end of chapter 21, which is the end of the law of Chuhat, the first part of Numbers 19, 20, and 21. So I'm going to take a break and come back for the rest of it. Shalom Havarim, Shalom Havarim, Shalom, Shalom, Lehit Raot, Shalom, Shalom. Goodbye, friends. Shalom Havarim, Shalom Havarim, Shalom, Shalom, Lehit Raot, Shalom, Shalom.